So I thought Kirk was changing topics, so when he offered you a swing, I thought he was offering you a sex swing or something.
Oh, sweet. Sure, I'd take one of those.
Used.
Honey, run to the store and buy 15 gallons of bleach.
I do gotta admire
And
those
all the Scotch Guard they have.
I do admire those couples that really take the time to, like, if they're down for stuff like that, like, you would have had to, find the studs in the ceiling.
Yeah, like find a good joist for it.
Yeah, like, that takes a lot of effort. And then you gotta try to, like,
bolt
hide it so no one knows that you straight up have a sex swing,
You're like, hey, why do you have this hanging potted plant in the middle of your living room? No reason.
Yeah.
I like plants in the middle of rooms. They break up the flow of the energy I fuck in it.
Yeah.
Yes. Hello and welcome to the Games That Made Us podcast. I'm Brent. I'm joined as always by my good friend Kirk. Say hi, Kirk.
Say hi, Kirk.
And we're joined as always by our good friend Benny. Say hi, Benny.
I have a peg leg.
Sweet.
It's the third one.
Yes, it's the middle. It's the middle.
It's the middle leg.
We all assumed that you were into pegging, but it's good to finally get it out in the open.
I walked into that, which normally doesn't work that way. Normally you have to back into it.
You have to walk back into it, usually. Strong start.
Yeah, I was going to say the exact same thing. I was prepared to say, yeah, strong start. Strong start, guys. Good job.
We're idiots.
It feels like it's been a really long time since the last time we recorded. I feel like I say that a lot, but
it's been
6 weeks since we recorded an episode.
Yeah, I got Brent with that earlier. It was funny. He looked at me like I was insane.
Stunt is a great album.
I love that album. It's
amazing.
Stunt, and what was the other one that came out? Because I think Alcohol's on the other one.
It is.
Yeah.
I think so.
Maroon.
Yeah.
Maroon is also a really good. Like they had an excellent 2-album run.
We went from pegging to like an innocent music album. In 10 seconds flat.
Yeah, like at least 10% of the time, there's a bare naked lady where pegging's involved.
Oh,
yeah, that's true.
Man.
I win.
Yeah.
The best dad joke ever.
Yeah.
It's like that fucking South
We're
Park
the
episode.
worst.
But yeah, no, we're really bad. There's a song. I think it is on Maroon. I'm forgetting the name of it, but it's Hydrofield cuts through my neighborhood.
That one's on Stunt.
That's on Stunt?
Uh-huh.
I love that song.
Why am I blanking on what that's called? My Room or something like that.
Yeah.
It's really good.
God, I was listening to that. I was mowing the other day, and that song came on my Spotify liked list. I was like, I stopped. I was just like, turned the mower off, sat down. I'm like, I'm just going to have 3 minutes to myself here.
Something about it
so good.
Feels very much like my childhood.
Yes.
So that one in particular.
Yes.
Brent, your comments were so dad. I went outside and checked the air in my tires.
Yeah.
And then asked me what the gas prices were in my area.
Dude, it was funny. I had the most dad moment ever. I was standing outside, I was drinking a beer, and I was watering in my grass. And our new neighbors over here were walking out to go to a baseball game, and they're like, "Hey, Brent, how you doing, man?" I stood and bullshitted with him for a minute. I walked around, and I was watering the grass on the back of the house. Our other neighbors came out, "Hey, Brent, how you doing, man?" "Yeah, good." And I'm like standing there talking to him for a couple minutes, and they get in the car and they drive away. I take a sip of my beer, and I'm just like, I am the most... I have reached peak fucking Midwestern suburban dad. I'm standing outside. I'm talking about the weather. I'm drinking a bud. I'm watering grass.
So, alcohol is on Stunt.
Okay.
We're both crazy. And that song you're thinking of is Light Up My Room.
Light Up My Room. God, that's such a good song. Okay. Yep. I'll put like a YouTube link to this because I can't put it in the fucking video. I've learned that. YouTube taught me that real fucking quick. But I will put a link to this song. If you don't know Light Up My Room by Bare Naked Ladies, pause the podcast, go listen to it, come back, and we'll be here waiting for you.
Yeah. It's so dad, it reminded me I need to have someone holding the bottom of the ladder.
Exactly.
It's so dad, it passed off a flashlight and told you to fucking hold it still this time.
Yeah.
It's so dad that it walked through the room going, why doesn't anyone turn off the goddamn lights?
It's so
Electricity
dad.
isn't free, you know?
It's so dad, he walked into the hall at 3 a.m. in the morning with a sweaty white t-shirt wondering who the fuck turned the thermostat up.
It's so dad that it's got a it's got a depression in its favorite easy chair that's the same shape as its ass.
So stupid.
Why are we doing this?
It's so dad the closed captions are always on.
It sucks that this is... I mean, like, I want to be clear. I'm very happy, but none of the things that we just said aren't applicable to me, personally. Okay. All right. I'm good. Hey,
That's a record time for deviation.
Well, and it was like... Just, I mean, like, we couldn't stay on the same topic for even 30 seconds. We were like...
Welcome to ADHD, the podcast.
we are speed running, getting off track. Okay, you know...
We came here for a reason, too. That's amazing.
Fuck, okay. Video games, we play those. Not much lately. I'll just start. So I was mentioning to Kirk, it's been a crazy past couple weeks. Been super busy, so I haven't played a lot of video games. I have been playing a shit ton of Balatro because I've been trying to get gold in every deck, which fucking green deck almost ended me. Because it's like you depend so much. You don't realize how much you depend on interest until you don't have it. And it's like, fuck, man. Like, gold stake on green deck was one of the hardest things I've done in a video game in the last couple years. Which is the one where it, like, adds a double stake every time you beat a boss.
I know what you're talking about.
Double tag. Yeah, that might be painted deck. I don't know. But I went through that and beat that. But again, it's a nice thing that I can do it on my phone, and I don't have to be sitting playing a video game to play it. And then I was mentioning also to Kirk that I bought a 360. So Croak H, thanks. I'm blaming you because you were showing yours off on our Discord, and I was like, oh yeah, that looks really cool. But so I kept accidentally almost buying a 360 or a PS3. Like, I'd go on eBay and right at the last minute, I'd put in a last minute bid, like $2 over whatever the current bid was, and then I'd
get sniped
and
the end.
And then I wouldn't get it. And then finally I got one, and it came with the 3 BioShock games that were on the 360, and a controller and all the cables and stuff. And
have you played those?
Yeah,
okay,
I love BioShock. I recently, I think it was last year, I bought the remaster of the first game.
Okay.
And I was talking
Such a fun IP.
It is. And I was talking to Sean about it, and I was like, fuck, I didn't... And I'm sure Dead Space is the same way. I haven't played those games. But the remaster on the first BioShock, because I never thought of BioShock as being particularly that scary. But
Except that one scene.
Yeah.
Like, we all know the one with the mannequins that just appear behind you. That fucking scared the shit out of me.
It's super moody. It's creepy all the way through, though.
Yeah, it's more creepy than it is. But the remaster, just that little bit that they did to kind of like freshen and brighten, tighten it up. I don't know. That one got me way more than playing the original game on the 360. But anyway, got a 360, and I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy 13. I don't know. I picked it up and I was like, I like Lightning. She's cool. She's been in other Final Fantasy stuff. And I was like, okay. And yeah, I'm enjoying it.
But it's hallway the game all the way till the very end.
Yeah.
I have my problems and the things I like about that game. Overall, I can see why you'd like... I think the battle system's fun. I can see why you'd like it.
Yeah,
but there's plenty to criticize about it too.
It's not.
And
it's not going to enter the pantheon of like my favorite games or anything. But I was looking for something to play, and I had picked it up for like $5, and it's pretty good.
And it's the first one.
Yeah.
It's the first one that deviates from either being like kind of actually open world exploration,
right,
to some extent, like an overworld map, like all of the 16-bit and then all of the like the PlayStation era games had. Final Fantasy X, of course, is also a very linear story, but you have a lot of open areas to explore.
Mm-hmm.
And 13 felt like a deviation because you're kind of in very enclosed spaces and long stretches of being on a rail.
Yeah. That's why I said hallway deliberately.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure.
It definitely feels more...
It was the first one on Xbox, right? That was the first Final Fantasy game that came out on Xbox. I think all before then were all PlayStation.
I think it was. They were all exclusives up to that point.
Yeah,
because it was famously like launched at the same time too. Like it launched on all platforms at the same time for the first time.
But it's been fun. I've been enjoying that. And then I also picked up, just because I was curious, because I never played it on the 360, but I knew that it was a 360 game originally. I picked up Nier, the original version that they did the remaster for Replicant not too long ago. And boy, oh boy, did they not do the Western markets any favors with that, because they changed the hero from the teenage boy who's in the Japanese version and in the remake to basically Kratos in the
of course.
But they didn't change the dialogue. They just had a different guy voice it. So it's like he's talking to his like teenage friends and he's like, "We're all friends now. It's so good." And it's just like, Jesus, this is so stupid. Like it all the lines make perfect sense coming out of the mouth of a 16-year-old boy, but when you have like basically me, just like this giant beardy fucking dude, oh yeah, I'm so glad we're all friends. I'm like, oh, this is fucking weird. So it's still a good game with that one huge glaring fucking neon road sign of a problem. Kirk, I assume you're kind of in the same boat that I am. Probably haven't played too much lately.
No, not too much. But I was going to say, like, hell, I have an Xbox One that's just sitting in my garage that a friend of mine was supposed to pick up, like, back in November.
Yeah.
And still hasn't. So, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's been close to a better part of, well, it's been a full quarter for sure.
Yeah.
It's a free game at this point. I even upgraded it some time ago with a solid state.
Nice.
Yeah, because the Xbox One, you had to like fully take the thing apart and then clone the mechanical into an SSD. And on the SSD, it does work a lot faster. But
That makes sense.
yeah, it's still in great shape. Should have just, if I would have known, I would have just given it to you. Oh,
There's something nostalgic about having a 360. I mean, I loved my 360 when I had one. It was, and it's so funny, like going back and playing it now, because I'm like, because I've said for years that the 360 is the beginning of modern gaming, and going back to it now on an HDMI into a modern display, yeah, I'm correct. Like it certainly frame rate and resolution.
Didn't the very first generation only have 720 and it didn't have HDMI output? They had that composite 720. Mm-hmm. So weird.
Yes, and yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
The 360 is one of those where the hardware revisions made a huge difference.
Yeah.
Because the launch model versus like the ending, the slim,
totally different.
Yeah. And I wanted a slim. That's what I wanted to get, is the one that came out alongside the Xbox One. But again, I happened to luck into this one and it was $50 with 3 games and all the cables and a controller. And I was like,
that's killer.
Again, one of these things would be like, hey, Kirk, do you have a console laying around? Because I also have my 360 just laying around. That's just unplugged, still works, just sitting in my utility closet.
Fair. Okay, next time I'll just beg you for things instead of buying them. Like, Kirk, give you some shit.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it's no. no real. Yeah, I was going to say you've been busy.
Yeah, I've been really busy. I started my new IT job and all that. Yeah. And then also jumping in the gym, and then like, yeah, just life stuff. I've been playing Helldivers when I do jump on, and that's pretty much it. Just because they did have a huge update come out about, I think it was either this week or the week before. Yeah. Where like weapon customization is a thing now. Okay. And like that's awesome. You can like weapon skins. You got some of them too.
Is that Western themed thing that you did in the TMIG? Is that out yet, or is that?
Yeah, that came out. Okay. Yeah, during the time I did the TMIG, okay. It was already out and I had played it.
That looked sick.
They have a new Warbond out that just released this week. Mm-hmm. And it's fucking terrible. I'm gonna tear it to shreds on TMIG. It's so fucking stupid. And I'm like, you charged people money for this, you sons of bitches. This is fucking ridiculous.
Well, yeah. And see, that's
like the actual update with the weapon customization is worth more than the goddamn Warbond is. And the update was free.
Yeah. Benny. Do you have games to talk about?
I do, actually. Awesome. I haven't played a lot of games in the last few weeks myself, actually, but I have managed to kind of bounce from between a few of them. Yeah. I finished The Last of Us Part 1, the remaster. Yeah. I had finally gotten around to playing that for the first time. My wife wanted to watch the series, and I wanted to play the game and kind of compare. Really great experience. Fantastic game. Yeah. A really great example of storytelling in video games, and video games is a medium for storytelling. Yeah. And character development. I highly recommend picking it up on Steam if it's on sale, because if you haven't played it, it's really, maybe if you played the original PS3 version years ago. Yeah. It's excellent. Then I picked up a kind of a new roguelite a la Vampire Survivors called Death Must Die. Have you played that one or heard of it?
I've heard of it. I don't know anything about it, though, other than just, it's mentioned to me.
Mechanics are very similar. Okay. The major distinction is that instead of like buying those like the very minor modifiers and relying on characters, like unlocking better characters, because at the end of the day, for me in Vampire Survivors, it's the characters that make the experience, or like that are essentially the level up mechanic, where like the more advanced characters have the cooler movesets and like the better evolutions, and so it's just more like viable to survive, because like you start that first run the first time you boot up the game and you're just like, you're slaughtered in the first 5 minutes, that kind of thing. The mechanic this time around, you have a very limited character set, but you have inventory management, kind of like Diablo.
Okay. That could be a really fun combination of Diablo.
And so you have
dungeon crawly.
And so you don't have like a leveling system, but you get better and better equipment. Okay. And then you have, so it's actually, I would call it Diablo meets Vampire Survivors meets Hades. If you've played Hades, you know how like when Hades. You on level up, you get presented with like, a god presents you with some sort of selection of powers to apply.
So you can kind of do builds a little bit more.
Exactly. And you get to tailor your move sets based on those god powers, and those god powers have interesting, like not evolutions, although there are a couple that like modify each other, right? But different tiers of quality. So like you get like the normal ones, but you can also get up to like master and like legendary quality. So like the statistics or like stat bumps that they give you are great. It's a lot of fun. It's hectic. It's difficult. It's, in my opinion, starting out, it's actually a little harder than Vampire Survivors. Yeah. But it's a lot of fun, and it's like it's like all pixel art. So it's really with some like fun, effects, like particle effects, but still in like pixel graphics. So it's really pretty in its own way. Yeah. So, and then I also kind of in the same vein, I went ahead and picked up Diablo 4 because it was on sale, and I just wanted to play that, and I've been having some fun with that. I'm not sure what I think about that entirely yet, but in general, I think it's fun so far. Yeah. The weird thing is not having procedurally generated environments.
Yeah.
Things are static.
Okay.
There are still like dungeons that I think instantiate and you can like run through them, but it's not like every run through is not a new experience.
No.
So I'll have to see how that goes. But I think of all of those games that I played, if money is not an option or not a problem, pick up The Last of Us. Mm-hmm. And if money is a concern, pick up Death Must Die, because that one's really it's more indie, and I think it's very crunchy. Like, it's fun to dig into.
Yeah.
It does one more last thing about Death Must Die. It does the exact opposite thing of what Vampire Survivors does, where like you start picking up your like the garlic, and then you want to hyper focus on like a couple of them, like really build them up to become survivable in that same run, and then you can start adding in other ones. At least that's how I play Vampire Survivors.
Me too.
Death Must Die I found to be the exact opposite. You really want to like diversify immediately and get as many things going as you can to start, and then start ramping up the powers of those individually, or you get overwhelmed extremely quickly.
Yeah.
So
okay.
So it is very much like those three games, like a little bit of Diablo, a little bit of Vampire Survivors, and a little bit of Hades.
Yeah. It sounds almost more like RPG-ish, where like you want to focus on being general skills early. A little bit.
It's also got some of that. I mean, there's a dodge mechanic that is absolutely critical. So there's even like a little bit of a Souls feel to it.
This sounds like I would hate it.
I actually kind of expect that you might love it. Did you like Hades?
I hate Hades.
Okay, never mind. You won't like it. Don't play it. You won't like it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but I'm glad you like it. No, I was so excited for Hades, and then like I got, I don't know, 2-3 hours in, and I was like, I had that moment. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about, where you get into a game that you're really pumped for, that like you have some anticipation about playing, and you're like 2-3 hours in, and you're learning the mechanics, and you're getting better, and then you have this like post nut clarity where you're like, I don't like playing this. This isn't fun. Like I'm getting better at it. I could do this more, but like, yeah, because I'm just, in general, I'm not a big fan of the kind of like dodge, roll, attack, like that kind of almost like rhythm gamey kind of
it absolutely is.
Attack pattern. It doesn't break a game for me. Like I mentioned the Nier games. The Nier games have that. Like that's part of that can be a way to get better at the combat in that game, but it didn't ruin the game for me because it's one small element of the combat. When it's the thing that you're doing, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I bounced off one a couple months ago and refunded it on Steam, even though I thought I was really going to like it for that same reason. So.
Yeah, but it's why I would never seriously put too much time into like Souls-like games, because I've played a little bit of Dark Souls and Demon Souls, and I was just like, yeah, they're games. They're sure games. They're pretty. They look good. I can tell it's a well-crafted thing, but I don't want to play it no more.
Well, that's fair.
All right.
We're going to get into it.
We're going to get into our topic today. Today, we are going to be covering the 2005 film starring Jesse Jane, Carmen Luvana, Devin, and Evan Stone, Pirates. A pornographic masterpiece with, at the time, the highest budget of any pornographic film.
Wasn't Tegan Presley in that too?
I thought she was in the second one.
Okay.
The Revenge of Scarmetti or whatever.
You did it again.
I did do it again. And it's starting to lose its sting, though, because it's like you guys are waiting for something stupid every time.
Well, that first one just slapped me like,
yeah,
I don't know, like a marlin jumping into my fishing boat.
I will say, there's also something about having it be a fucking "We Belong Together" like the fucking 80s pop song. No, we are going to cover. Although strangely, this only came out 1 year before the movie that I was just referencing. We're going to be covering Sid Meier's Pirates, the 2004 PC and many other platform game. Also, weird note on this one. I recently found out that there's a PSP port of Sid Meier's Pirates. It's pretty good. I played it. I played it on one of my retro handhelds for like 2-3 hours. It maps shockingly well to the PSP controls. So if you're wanting to play this on the go, the PSP ROM on a handheld is, or just if you want to play it with a controller, it's a pretty good way to go. But so yeah, Sid Meier's Pirates, 2004. This one is interesting because I think it's the first remake that we've covered on the show. I'm pretty sure. Because this is actually a remake of a 1987 game of the same name that came out on the Commodore 64. And in typical Sid Meier / Firaxis fashion, they've made this as confusing as possible because there's Sid Meier's Pirates 1987, which was on a whole bunch of PCs. Then there was Pirates Gold, which was on a whole bunch of consoles. In fact, I had it on the NES in like 1990. And then this one that came out in 2004. But this is the one that we're going to be talking about today. Sid Meier's Pirates. Have I rambled enough? I think I could ramble more.
Wasn't this your game? So you're supposed to ramble anyways.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So this was one I was living out in St. Louis with one of my friends. I was post-college. I was crashing on his couch. And he was sitting there with his shitty work laptop playing a video game. And I kind of like kept looking over. I was like, "Are you a pirate?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Do you get to like blow up ships and shit?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Do you get to like loot and plunder?" "Yeah." "Do you get to like, I don't know, be like swashbuckling like Errol Flynn and like romance girls and stuff?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Can I have that laptop?" I love this game. I've put tons of hours into it. It is the game that breaks all the Brent rules though, because it is minigame the game.
Mm-hmm.
And normally I hate minigames, but for some reason this pulls it together so nicely.
I think it cheats your own brain because it's also basically a direct port of, or like maybe very indirect port of Escape Velocity.
Yes, absolutely. And like
it's 100%
it is
same mechanic.
It is, yeah, it is basically just Escape Velocity, which we'll get into at some point. That'll probably be my next pick. It was supposed to be my pick this time, and then I don't know why I suddenly changed it to this one. But so it's like a life sim kind of thing. In fact, the tagline for the game was "Pirates Live the Life." You are a generic action man, generic Errol Flynn style, like heroic young man who shows up in the Caribbean looking for the man who killed your father because you're Inigo Montoya, I guess. And you sign up as a privateer in the navies of either the Spanish, French, English, or Dutch in the 1600s in the Caribbean. You start out with a really small ship, and you sail around and you try and raid, loot, pirate merchant vessels, build up your ship, build up your crew. You can capture enemy ships and then take them as your own and upgrade. And then, as happens with a lot of these like kind of life sim things, as you play along, more and more of the game opens up. As you achieve certain levels, you can conquer cities and hand them over to a particular country, which is one of my favorite things. I love like painting the map, like starting to play as the Dutch and then just, yep, the Dutch are going to own everything now. We're going to make a Dutch empire that stretches all the way to fucking Mexico. It'll be great. Once you achieve a certain fame level, you'll be asked to go to the ball with the daughter of various governors. and you can try and do like a dancing mini game to romance them.
They'll give you good shit if you do well.
That's true. When you capture ships or when you try to pirate ships, you'll occasionally have the enemy captain challenge you to a duel, and there's a dueling mini game that you have to fight. There's if you land at a city that doesn't like you, that you've been at war, there's
the infiltration,
terrible, awful, shitty stealth segment. It's the worst part of this game by a wide margin because there's no map. You just kind of wander. You're like, I don't know where I'm going. So you're stealthing, but you don't know what your destination is.
And then eventually you'll find an inn and you're like, oh, okay, I guess I'm here now.
I guess this is where I stay. But yeah, it's a game that I really have a lot of fun with. It's so Sid Meier. It is the most Sid Meier game that ever Sid Meiered. It's goofy and weird, and it feels like they should be talking about llamas, but they're not. And it just makes me really happy. It makes very little attempt at historical accuracy. It's just trying to put you in the shoes of being Robinson Crusoe kind of like fake movie pirate. And it does a really good job of that, including, I'm sure, many people's first experience of sea shanties, which, I know all the fucking kids are really excited about now. That fucking blew up a couple of years ago. That was real weird. It's like y'all listen to fucking hip hop and sea shanties. I can't figure y'all out. But yeah, that's my rambling intro segment to Sid Meier's Pirates. Kirk, how did you find Sid Meier's Pirates?
So I'd never played it before, although I'm a big fan of the Sid Meier games. Obviously, I play Civ and XCOM, those types of games, the 4X, all the time. Right. So it was very shocking to me at the time that Sid Meier deviated from that a little bit.
Sure.
I mean, there's still like the city attacking elements where there is kind of that turn-based style thing, which plays horribly, by the way.
Yeah, it's not good.
But
it's the most dumbed down like Japanese style strategy RPG.
Yeah. But that's funny how you brought up how you paint the entire map. Like, well, I guess I never did that.
Okay.
I did it once and then was just like, no, I'd rather just attack ships because that's the funnest part.
Yeah.
It was, and I know we've talked about it on this cartoon show or whatever it is that we do, about how like Assassin's Creed, our favorite parts of some of those games were just the ship parts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just attacking other ships.
Yeah.
Like I still to this day haven't beat Black Flag because I get distracted by just attacking and blowing up other ships. So
that's something that I thought was funny with both the games that we're going to be recording for today. Is this was the first time, really, for either of them that I tried to see an end screen, like tried to get like a credits roll. Because the joy of both, and so spoiler alert, we're also recording Grand Theft Auto Vice City today. The joy of both of those games is just like hanging out, like doing the main thing, doing the pirate thing, doing the like stealing cars and driving around listening to the radio thing, and the actual like point of the game is I kind of forget that it's even there most of the time.
Yep. In fact, in Pirates, I found one of my siblings by complete dumb accident.
Yeah.
And it's because the game doesn't really explain it too well, that you can land your ship and just kind of anywhere and go on shore and explore. I didn't do that for the longest time.
Right.
I was just sailing port to port, hunting down other notorious captains and beating the shit out of them.
Yeah.
And then taking their boats and then, driving around. I didn't like the morale mechanic. Because at a certain point in the game, on your ship, if you don't like land a port and split up your money and whatever, your guys will mutiny,
right?
Which was kind of a bummer, but
I eventually went out on my way to do a little research on that mechanic to find the components, like either the crew members or like the inventory items that allow you to manage morale to where you can effectively stave off mutiny indefinitely. Because I thought that was a little bit of a pernicious mechanic that kind of took away from the fun a little bit for me.
Yeah, and
I think it goes with the life sim part of the game, but I didn't need that for the way I played the game.
It felt like a mechanic in service to a fundamental misunderstanding of the game, though, because it was like, so what it does is at a certain point, if your morale drops low enough, you're forced to, and I'd normally do it ahead of time when I started to see my morale drop, you're forced to go into town and split up the spoils. And what that means is you lose the vast majority of your money.
All but one of your ships. Your flagship, and the vast majority of your crew. And so it seems like it's there to prevent you from just being able to steamroll the game. Like it makes it kind of reset. But the thing with Sid Meier's Pirates is combat is always on your side, one ship. Yep.
Right? You can engage multiple enemy ships at the same time, but you're only ever controlling your flagship, and the rest of the ships just hang out. So the idea that like, we have to reset it by getting rid of the rest of your fleet, why though? Like it doesn't help you in any way other than you can carry more cargo. Like you could have a fleet of ships of the line with 60 cannons each, but you're in a little sloop, you're still only engaging the enemy with that little sloop. So I still don't understand what the in-game reason for that divide the spoils.
And they really wanted you, when you do that too, when you split up the spoils, it gives you the opportunity to kind of to upgrade, so to speak.
Yeah.
Where you start out as like a journeyman and then you work your way up. That's one point because all I did was just attacking ships and whatever.
Yeah.
And I had so much damn money, it really made no difference.
Right.
And at that point, I had all the upgrades for the ship.
Yep.
So, why
would I do that? Yeah.
I think you and I played the game in almost the exact same way then, Kirk. And to be clear, I thought this game was a hell of a lot of fun to play.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned on the Discord, like the gameplay loop is super satisfying.
Yeah, that's why I just attacked ships all the time.
Yeah,
same thing like Black Flag, same thing.
I was a pirate hunter. That's how I played this game.
Nice.
I found a couple of family members by accident, like you said.
Did you find their buried treasure also?
I found some buried treasure. Okay. It took a while, like you mentioned, Kirk, to figure out how to land. In fact, I found that kind of
sometimes did you find that out on accident? Because I found it out on accident.
Well, yeah, and sometimes I'd end up just like crashing into shit and like, I guess I'll try this again after I go repair my ship at port.
Right.
Again, it feels less well constructed than it could have been.
Yeah, it feels
a little cobbled together.
It feels like they came up with that core gameplay loop. The actual ship-to-ship combat and the like sailing around and the like being a pirate part. And that's where 90% of the like game devs' time and energy went. And then they kept bolting on sort of half-cooked ideas further and further out. Like the farther you get from that core loop, the less well-designed it is. And like to the point about, so just to explain it, one of the things that the game wants you to do is go find the buried treasure of all the different pirates. There's the top 10 pirates that are sailing, and it changes depending on when you're there, because you can start the game at different start points. But they're randomly dispersed throughout the Caribbean. You can attack the pirates, but you can also go on shore and go look for their buried treasure. Well, the way you go on shore is you just aim your ship at the shore somewhere far enough away from a city that it doesn't like collision detect you into the city, which is really frustrating when there's two cities close together and you're trying to land between them because the hit detection kind of pushes you into a city when you don't want to be. Because then once you're in a city, you can't just fucking walk out. Anyway, sorry. Yeah. But so you have to like land on a beach by just ramming into it. And then you just wander around the jungle as characters who are, what do we think, guys, roughly like 80 stories tall? Because like you can walk from one side to Panama to the other in about 8 steps.
And yet inexplicably Slender Man rendered characters.
Right.
Just horrifying little no dithering, no.
They kind of look like the aliens from Signs. Like they've got those kind of like the big long arms.
You're going ashore as a little nightmare party.
Exactly.
You just want to be richer.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's a great way to springboard your the beginning of your adventures too. Is like you find one or two of those, like a couple of big treasures from the pirates, and you've got everything you need to like immediately just crank your ship to the max at least a couple ports and have enough to take on a big name pirate and then take his ship, and then you're just like you're set,
and then you're
for the rest of the run.
Mm-hmm. Although I did have a big problem with like the key inventory items because I didn't know, because the game doesn't tell you outright that you can just dance with these women, the governor's daughter or whatever, at all these ports. It doesn't necessarily mean you're attached to that one.
Right.
And that was a problem for me because
you can 10 or 20 times the women out there.
Yeah.
Because
you've got Renaissance hoes in different area codes.
Yeah. But it was because this governor would be like, "Hey, do you want to accompany my daughter to the ball?" And I'm like, "Go! What the fuck? I don't want to date this fucking Dutchman's frumpy daughter." And that was a problem for me because, like, for a while, I'd because I have a type, petite redheads. So
I was
I
going to
found
say
that
he didn't find any small redheads.
Yeah. I did Port Royal.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
All right. Good deal.
But then I got a
French
key.
too. Then nice. No, that's Jamaican. Yeah.
No, it's English.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Jamaica was.
Yeah.
English.
But I got a key item, and I'm like, well, how do I get more of these? So that's when I had to go out of my way, and it's like, oh, you can just dance and
manslut your way across the Caribbean,
which would obviously appeal to Kark.
Yeah. And I did that all the time. It was a lot of fun. Then I got like all the key items, and then mutinies didn't happen anymore. And
it's weird to me because, well, and I guess maybe because it's a remake. Because Firaxis, like,
I think that's part of something I wanted to mention too, the remakes.
Okay. Because Firaxis, like Alpha Centauri we've talked about, and like Alpha Centauri explains in the game all the mechanics of the game. But this game came with a fucking novel of a manual. And everything, like, I mean, how many times already have we said, the game doesn't tell you how to... Yeah, it was... This game definitely had the 80s-itis where it was like, it's all in the manual.
Yeah.
And it's like... Which feels weird for a game that came out in 2004, but perhaps that is because it was a remake of a 1987... PC game. I don't know.
And I think there was a sensibility around like releasing a game, not just like building the game itself, but like there was almost like a premium feel to extremely fancy box art and like embossed covers and big manuals and included posters or like exclusives with like gaming magazines and all this tertiary media that came with games that just does not exist anymore.
Yeah, well, it was like, was it Xseed was the company that kept translating and bringing over like obscure JRPGs in the 90s. I think it was Xseed Games.
Might have been. I can't remember.
But they were the ones that came up with the idea of feelies, that like all their games came out with not only a full color manual, but like maps and stickers and all kinds of stuff. And it was like the in an age where even the three of us, who I think all appreciate physical gaming, the vast majority of the games that I play, I buy digitally.
Oh yeah.
And like it's easy to forget that as recently as when we were in our early 20s, the packaging was a huge part of like what made a game successful. Like, I mean, shit, like Ocarina of Time coming with that fucking sweet ass map that hung in my room forever. And like, yeah.
I lament not having that anymore.
Dude.
I still have my like Morrowind poster map and...
Oh, I would love to have some of that shit back. But...
but talking about talking about the remake component of this. I think that's part of why the game feels a little jank.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I think that they had these mechanics that they knew they had to recreate, but there wasn't like so much of a creative element involved because most of the material already existed, right?
Yeah.
So like, I think in a lot of ways, this kind of feels like, I don't know, it's not the same thing, but it feels like our conversation around Doom, where we're talking about a 2D transposition into 3-dimensional space a little bit. And so I think that a lot of and wasn't this a pretty short development schedule too? Like they kind of cranked it out pretty quick.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that they probably said, okay, we've got these core mechanics, translate them into 3D space, right. and if it works, it works. It feels kind of it feels like that.
Yeah. It definitely does. And like this was it does have a lot of holdovers from an earlier era of PC gaming. Like for one thing, the fact that the whole game is controlled with the numpad is very like 1980s, early 1990s kind of game design. I installed this on a laptop not too long ago because I was like, I had the itch to play it. And I used to have the original CD. I don't know where that is, but I picked it up on Steam because it was like $2. And installed it, and I had forgotten that it's like a numpad first game. And of course, that laptop didn't have a numpad, and I was like,
Yeah.
And there's no like control remapping or anything in this.
Using the mouse fucking sucks in this game. It's impossible.
I bet. Yeah.
It's impossible.
And if you want to change your resolution, then the mouse is actually not usable.
Yeah.
Then I found a weird kind of delay too. Like the higher the resolution when I do the dance sequences.
Yes.
Yep. I was fucked all the time. Yeah. Especially if I didn't have the little thing telling me which button to press.
Yeah.
And I was just going off the direction of whatever the lady was telling me to do.
Yeah.
I ended up setting it back to the original resolution.
Yeah, because there's such a bizarre delay. I'm like, why does she not like me? Like,
there's some weird bugs.
Like, I know I'm pressing it
too, which I like. It makes sense for a 20-year-old PC.
So that was something I was going to mention to you, and I think this plays into it. Is I commented on the Discord. I was like, I'm having a lot of fun with this, but like. This thing is so unstable.
It's crashy as hell.
And you're like, well, that makes sense because it was that way in the beginning too. Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's always been. It's not. This isn't crashy because it came out on XP and like it's now like there's just been it sucked on XP. Like it was always buggy as hell. Which again, I think like. Factors into a lot of what we've been talking about the game's development cycle. But I love, and I had forgotten this, if you have a physical numlock light on your keyboard, the game turns it off.
Yeah.
When you start playing. But you have to have numlock on to play the game. But it doesn't actually fuck anything up. It just, the light goes off. So then I would hit numlock and turn.
And then your keys don't work properly.
And then it wouldn't work. And I'm like, well, but the light's on now. And I'm like, but now it's not working. And so finally, like, I fought with this for like 2 hours this time around. And finally I went on and I was like, okay, let me Google. And of course, some obscure game forum, it's like, oh yeah, this game turns off the light on your numlock. We don't know why, and it doesn't affect anything. Just ignore it. And
That's
I'm like,
so weird.
I'm like, oh, God damn it. I'm so glad. Like this is basically Nostalgia Bait, the podcast. But there are times when I'm like, I'm so fucking glad we don't live in this era of gaming anymore, because this is the kind of shit that happened all the time, especially on PC.
Yeah.
I do applaud him for the kind of realism of trying to sail east was always painfully slow.
Way harder.
It's like, well, I'm going to just point my ship in this direction. I'm going to go make a sandwich.
Yeah.
I'll be back later. That is cool how eventually you get like the upgrades where if you sail under a cloud or a storm, you'll you'll get like a speed boost temporarily.
Yeah,
that made it.
It does damage to your ship though.
Yeah. But a lot of times I'm like, I had so much fucking money at the time, I didn't care. Like, I just want to get from point A to point B faster. Yeah. And anytime I'd have to sail back east, I'm just like, fuck.
Yeah. And if you're chasing something, like if you're trying to capture another ship or like, you know, take out a pirate or something and and they're sailing east and they're already like significantly ahead of you, you're just like, well, no, bye. I'll just go do something else. Yeah. I'll come back around for this another time.
The
is literally impossible.
Right.
In some cases.
Learning the wind and current patterns of the Caribbean from this game, and then just having it like burned in your head where you're like, okay, so I'm going to go down along the Venezuelan coast, and I'm going to come up, and then I'm going to come up around Cuba, and then down between the Greater Antilles and the Lesser Antilles to get back to Barbados. Because if I just try and steam straight the fuck across, it's going to take for fucking ever. And it's like... And it's one of those things where after you plan out your voyage and you start doing it, you're like, oh shit, I learned something.
Knowledge of the Caribbean's wind currents, like spoken like a true Midwestern boy.
They fucking stealthed some knowledge into my head. Those bastards.
Yeah, that's why I'd always deliberately have like a year or two worth of food on one of my boats.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I don't have that one boat that's just like food and then one that's all treasure and spare parts.
Again, one of the things that it had been so long since I played that I forgot is that your fleet can only move at the maximum speed of your slowest ship, which makes perfect sense. That's how it should be. But so, like, right away, I captured a Spanish treasure galleon. I was like, perfect, I'll load this up with food and then we'll just go wherever we want to go. I'm like, wait, why am I so fucking slow? Oh, that's why I'm so slow. Because it would, and it pops up and it has this little like dialogue box that pops up on the map and it says, wait for me. And then your ship slows down and then the rest of your fleet catches up. So eventually I wound up just having all of the same type of ship.
All the captains that you've killed. Take all of their shit. That's what I did.
Yeah. Just
their boats are awesome.
I don't know what else I want to talk about. I'm so unprepared this time, guys. Like, I mentioned that I was extremely busy lately. And it's like, I have no notes. I have zero notes. This has just been completely off the cuff and
But the game is so simple, though.
Yeah.
Like, so the main focus is, when you're a kid, your dad gets killed and your family gets, like, kidnapped and whatever. So the main focus is supposed to be you finding your siblings, like your aunt and uncle, right, and your brother and sister. Is it brother and sister?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I can't remember. Or is it your mom?
I think
mom and then...
I think it's multiple family members, right?
Yeah, there's like 4 or 5 of them. But anyway, so you don't have to do any of that. Right. You can effectively end the game without having to do any of that. So the game is very open-ended.
Yeah, I went on Reddit and on the Pirates subreddit, and I was like, hey, how do I hit a credits screen in this game? Like, what's the
it's on the main menu.
Yeah, like what do I like? What's the end state? And it was great because this is a subreddit devoted to this game specifically. I got like 20 responses and they were all different, and it was like, oh, this is just when y'all are done. Like this
is your own personal win condition.
Yeah. This is like Sim City.
Did you guys also find like the hidden Mayan temple with like the 2 million gold and all that?
There's a couple lost cities.
I did not.
Yeah.
But there's one they kind of give you after you like find all your siblings.
Yeah.
They kind of just automatically give you one.
Yeah. But there's a couple lost cities. I don't know that I've ever found. I don't know how many there are, but I've not found them all. Again, this is one of those games where, like, spoiler alert for Grand Theft Auto Vice City, I mentioned that this was the first time I've ever tried to, like, hit a credits roll for both these games. I didn't on either, which we'll talk about Vice City when we get there. But I fucking IGN and I've got some words for them for their fucking walkthrough of Grand Theft Auto Vice City, because they have the missions listed and they neglect to mention that between the third to the last mission and the second to the last mission is like 6 hours of gameplay. And it's like, oh, you son of a bitch. Yeah.
I kind of feel like that game might have came out like before they were really doing walkthroughs themselves, so it could be a borrowed one, because I've run into that. Yeah. But they put a disclaimer on it, like, hey, this wasn't originally ours, but like, yeah.
When we've all had those game FAQs walkthroughs from childhood where it's like, oh man, is this one going to be serviceable at all, or is this going to be full of terrible grammar, missed elements entirely, but surprisingly good ASCII art?
Or the ASCII art is always... I always felt like when I would find one of these like ASCII art, like mid to late 90s walkthroughs, I'd be like, you know what? Even if this is a terrible guide, like I still like am happy I found this because of the ridiculous ASCII art. That's an art form that's gone. When's the last time you saw somebody make, like, Hello Kitty with C's? I'm just going to let that one hang.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to just bring up, so did anyone actually, in their playthroughs, get married to any of the floozies?
I didn't get married.
No.
I did.
But I spent the entire time, I really just reveled in the gameplay loop. I just hunted pirates.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all I did. Yeah. I wanted to be at the top of the list.
I kind of wish, like... So when fighting the captains, because if you find, like, a notorious captain, you have to get them in a duel.
Mm-hmm.
I wish the duels were a little more played out.
Fluid, too.
Yeah.
They're
very you get so damn good at a certain point, especially with, like, key inventory upgrades, where it's really simple to beat even the most notorious of captains.
Notorious.
Yeah. And that part I was like, man, maybe I should have like intentionally started losing so that way I can keep doing this for a little longer.
I was going to say, so you guys were talking about like what you did in your playthroughs. And I mentioned that like one of my like goals sometimes is to like paint the map. This time I didn't really do that. This time I just was like, I'm going to fuck the Spanish as hard as I can. For no reason, just I thought that would be fun. And this brings me to a point which I don't know that we've mentioned. So the map is dynamic. You'll have ships going back and forth they all have a destination and a departure point, and they're bringing something specific, bringing troops, bringing money, bringing goods, bringing colonists. And if you attack and capture a ship that was bringing colonists, the population of the city that it's going to will decline. If you attack a ship that's bringing troops, that city that it was going to will have less troops at it if you want to attack it. And so you'll see, as you're coming up to cities, it'll say like a wealthy Spanish stronghold. And that tells you how much money, how many people, what country, and also how many troops. Like those words all have meaning in terms of what the composition of the city is. And so this playthrough, I just sailed back and forth across the coast of Venezuela, Panama, and Colombia, attacking anything that had colonists, money, or troops. And so within a couple years, all of the cities in Venezuela and Colombia were like little tiny shitty ports with like 8 people in them and no money. So I like that. I like the fact that your I don't know why I fucked the Venezuelans.
I don't deeply anti-Spanish sentiment from Brent.
Yeah, I don't know why. It was just kind of fun.
I attacked indiscriminately. I'm like, oh, that looks like a big ship. You're mine now.
And I love how you'd just get done taking out like a huge galleon from like some nation and then show up in their port and their governor's like, well, we heard that you did such and such to one of our ships. Would you like to be a regent?
Yeah.
Here's a plot of land outside of our city. It's like you.
There is no what have you done for me lately in this game. It's just like, well, you captured 8 French ships and we're English and yeah, you just sunk our ship of the line, But
you also took out like 13 French ships. So we're like, you're cool.
Yeah,
I got
those French dogs. We hate them worse than we like having our own stuff.
Did you guys get to the max rank for all the countries? Well, I know you said you fucked with the Spanish.
I have
but
done before.
Yeah, I mean, I managed to get to the max
couldn't
rank
get with the Spanish this time.
with everybody, and that's what it made like attacking indiscriminately even more like hilarious because no one ever got mad at me for it. Yeah, I could sail out of a huge English port and just start attacking everything in sight, and no one would care.
And that is kind of funny because I started out the game. I made note of how
everybody's just blinking their eyes at you, going "Ooh, ooh, senpai."
Yeah, with my big fancy hat.
But he's rich. No, I started out.
It is realistic. Yeah, he fucked us hard, but he's got so much money.
So I started the game noting that like they'd talk about their relationship with other cultures, the other countries, and so I was timid in the beginning, not realizing that thinking that I needed to be cautious about who I attacked. So it was like I'm not going to attack my own people. I'm gonna make the British my bitch, but I'm not gonna there's, I don't know, there's a whole bunch of Dutch colonies around here. So I'm gonna try to be gentle because I assumed I'd roll into port and they'd be like, hold on, bitch. Right. And no, you can just be the worst human
at some point
and you will be rewarded for it, which is kind of satisfying in a way.
At some point, you have to fuck with either the British or the French just so you can get the best ships. Because the ship of the line and the bigger frigates, really only the French and British have. The Dutch and the Spanish don't really send those. I don't know if the Spanish even have them because they use the new warships and the big galleons.
Yeah, the treasure galleons.
Man, I fucking hated going into some of the ports because you get that dumbass automatic mission where it's like, oh, I'm going to be the new governor of this other town. Yeah. I'm going to follow you. Escort me, please. And you don't have a fucking choice. Right. That drove me crazy. I'm like, bitch, you're in for a long ride.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Until you eventually leave on your own.
Everybody likes forced escort missions, right?
Oh my God.
No, I mean,
and they'd always want to go in the opposite direction of where I'm actually wanting to go.
Like you said, Kirk, I got to a point where it was like, I know that, because it always happens at a, I don't remember what the type of city is, but it's like a colony or it's like the smaller one where it's I've been promoted to be the new governor of such and such place. It's like, okay, I'm going to go talk to him because I'm just going to do the thing. I know he's going to ask me to do this mission. I hope he has fun wherever he sinks.
Yeah. I played the same way. I'm like, if I happen to because eventually they will kind of sail off on their own, realizing we are really far away. It's good. Yeah, I didn't
buy.
You attached yourself to me, not the other way around. Yeah. So,
God, I didn't ask for this.
There's a couple times I actually
headed to Martinique. Why are we in Mexico?
More often than not, I would try to get in a goddamn fight with that ship just so it'd get away from me. I'm like, I don't want to have any part of this. You should have let me said no because now you're dead. Yeah. Your fault.
Oh, we should talk a little bit about because we mentioned that the ship combat is super fun, but we didn't really talk about it too much. We should talk about that a little bit. I love, so we mentioned that the direction of the wind and the way that your sails are facing obviously has a huge, because it's sailing, it's the age of sail, right? So the speed at which your ship travels is not just determined by the class of ship that you have, but also by how much your sails can catch the wind. And so you learn to kind of use a lot of diagonals in your travel to try and always catch the wind a little bit. And then just in real, period appropriate war on sea, you have multiple different kinds of ammunition that your cannons can be loaded with. The default is round shot, which is just what we think of when we think of cannons, just a big ball,
cannonball,
and that is intended to sink the enemy ship, which is not really what you want to do when you're a pirate. So as quickly as you can, you want to try and upgrade to its grape shot, which is the
personnel, anti-personnel shot, or the chain shot.
Yes, and the chain shot, this is also a real thing, which I think is so crazy. There's 2 cannonballs with a chain between them. They would load it in, and they'd use it to take down the masts of ships. And so it's basically like a massive fucking
like bolo or
yeah. It's like that. Yeah, that's fucking cool. But so you have to kind of learn how to utilize the different ammunition for your particular goal in that firefight. So if you're fighting a much bigger ship, but that you want to capture, you probably want to use grape shot as often as you can to try and lower the number of enemy sailors so that when you do eventually board, because the number of enemy sailors essentially functions as a health bar for the captain that you're fighting against in the duel. So if you can bring it down to him only having a handful of guys and you having a much bigger crew, that can make that fight a lot easier.
Sometimes he'll just outright surrender without a fight.
Yeah, when you show up.
Yeah. That's especially funny when you get to the point where you've got like a frigate or some other kind of large ship and you've got like 300 guys in your crew, and you'll enter the combat sequence. It kind of has like a Final Fantasy sort of thing where it shrinks the perspective down to just your two ships as you approach them. And you'll kind of be sailing up and they won't even fire. They'll just immediately white flag, and it just waits until you crash into them, and then they give up. It's like, yes, I am bad. God, I'm going to cut that. That was so stupid. That was the worst thing I've said on this podcast. Yes, I am bad. With the most white guy accent ever.
Now you have to keep it.
No, I don't. I'm an editor. I can do whatever I want.
I am God.
I'll make you say it. Use some AI and get them. That would be okay. That would be fucking incredible if, like, you guys listened to the episode at some point and I was just like, fucking AI, you saying completely different shit and edited it in.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
Because you have more than enough of our voices to do it with.
Oh, God, yeah. I don't think it would be worth it, but it would be funny one time.
You'd have to really make sure that whatever dialogue you picked was worth it, because you get one.
Yeah. All right. Well, any closing thoughts on Sid Meier's Pirates?
I love the default name for your captain, Captain Incognito.
Yeah.
I kept it. I'm like, that's fucking hilarious.
It's not quite as good as the default names in Escape Velocity Override, where they use the stuff from Mystery Science Theater. It's like Dash Riprock, Beef Hard Cheese.
Yeah, that one's my favorite.
Yeah, Slab McBeefcake.
It was fun. I wish I could have gotten a real peg leg.
Yeah,
for my character.
Yeah.
You get a parrot. You can get like these accessories, but like they don't actually change your. Well, some of them do, and then others like I wanted like a parrot in the middle of my fight to like scratch the go peck the eyes out of
should peck the eyes out of the other captain. Yes,
or like have like your peg leg get like shot off, and so you grab the stup and like throw it at the enemy captain. Just some funny. The game is clearly aware that's something we didn't talk about, but like the game is aware that it's like
goofy.
It is. It's campy.
Yeah,
because like. You get that, like, the pistol belt upgrade, and so, like, you open every sword fight with an enemy captain dodging his pistol shot, and then, like, you, like, scaring him up a little bit with a couple of your pistol shots.
Yeah.
And he's got, like, a shit-eating grin on his face when you do it, and, like, he's like, haha, I'm swashbuckling as we speak. And
I'm both buckling and swashing.
Yes.
Right now.
Left and right.
Yeah.
Buckle left and swash to the right.
Obviously.
And
anything less would be uncouth.
So it's there's a lot of charm that I don't think we've necessarily talked about too much.
Some of the sound design is great too. Like when you divide up the plunder or when you recruit new guys, you just hear har har har.
Yeah.
And like how uncomfortable I was with like how they're just like the bartender at the tavern just being like, oh, I heard that the governor's daughter is very homely. like Jesus, okay.
Oh,
let's talk. Let's why are we talking about this poor lady like this? She just wants love, and I'm here to take her shit and get the fuck out of Dodge. Like, come on, what are we doing?
I'll give her love for a little bit. Oh.
I always had the most problem fighting the drunk dudes, oddly enough. All the captains, I had no problem. But that also might have been the weird resolution delay. But anytime I'd fight the drunk dudes, they have more of a wind-up before the attack, so I'd always press my dodge button way the fuck too early every single time.
I've seen enough kung fu movies to know that fighting a drunk dude can be tough.
I love how they end those fights with the barmaid clobbering the guy over the head with the bottle at the end.
Yeah.
Inevitably.
So good. All right. Well, if you are looking for a goofy, fun pirate sim, this game is perpetually about $2-3 on either GOG or Steam. And I think it's well worth it. It's pretty jank. I'm not gonna try and sugarcoat that. It's got a fucking degree from Janky University, but it is really fun and really goofy, and just that, as both the guys mentioned, just that core loop of sailing around, finding big ships, attacking them, and stealing their shit is really, really a lot of fun. So, my highest recommendations for Sid Meier's Pirates. 2004. The 1987 one is shockingly good for a 1987 C64 game, but that's kind of a prettiest Denny's waitress kind of situation. Like, anything C64 is, you really fucking fighting outside your weight class if you're trying to look for a good game there. Sorry, I just fucking hate the C64.
I thought you were going to say you hate Denny's waitresses. Like, that one can't blink her eyes at the same time.
Why is she serving that food and holding a baby at the same time? Like, is that her baby, or is she finding that one one of those chairs for the baby?
Denny's episode 2, Attack of the Gun.
Yeah,
Jesus. Is that her baby, or is this like a Thomas Paine kind of situation? Oh, don't worry about it. Anyway, baby eating, it's fun. Okay, yeah. If you like what we're doing,
I'm just imagining like a Baroque painting of a Denny's in the style of Hieronymus Bosch with just gaping mouths and horrifying imagery. Just
that sounds amazing.
I'm gonna throw that into an AI image generator now.
Denny's. I want that. That's like.
Did she just pull a sausage links out of her pocket?
Do you guys remember, or did you hear about when people kept sending tweets to the fucking Street Fighter team, dev team, trying to get them to add a Waffle House parking lot? Yeah. That's one of the locations you can find it. I'm thank you for restoring my faith in humanity. I love the confused responses from the Japanese devs. I don't know what a Waffle House is, but please stop messaging me.
I don't know what it is, and it sounds awful.
Yeah. Oh. All right. Well, if you like what we're doing here today, and other days that we also did basically the same thing, which is get drunk and talk about video games, then come check us out on Discord, Amazon, Spotify, YouTube, maybe Apple. I don't know. They still haven't fixed their fucking website. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Pornhub. Maybe Pornhub. I don't know. We'll float that one.
We're not too good for it.
No, fuck no.
Not beneath us.
Yeah. Sorry, now all I've got is the the mole man from the end of the Incredibles, where he's like, I'm always beneath you, but nothing is beneath me. No, just me. Okay, that's fine.
I'm just
the mole
shocked.
is a power bottom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
When you're right, you're right.
Yeah, I'm not even mad. I'm just impressed.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. With that, bye! But so I'm watching this streamer, and he's, he's doing the thing where it's like, hey, so-and-so, thanks for the bits, or thanks for the gifted subs, or whatever, right? And, because Twitch stream. And, and he goes, Baja Bussy Blaster, thanks for the gifted subs. And I'm sitting there with and I'm doing the thing that you do as a parent where you're like, hopefully she didn't catch it.
Yep.
It probably 90% of the things that enter into a kid's periph just disappear. And you're like, please God, you just fingers crossed. And it's like 5 minutes later, she looks over at me and goes, Daddy, what's a Baja Bussy Blaster?
Like the entire thing.
Yep. And I'm just like, no.
It's not.
It's not.
It's when you pass it.
You never heard that.
It's when you pass it off to someone else just so they have to, they get the blame.
Yeah.
Like, don't ask me, ask Uncle Kirk. Like,
when you do that, it inevitably ends up at the therapist.
Right.
yeah, I'd be like, you know what? Go ahead and tell your teacher that, but make sure to scream the question as loud as you can.
In the middle of class.
Yeah.
And that's how Child Protective Services shows up at my house.
Mm-hmm.